Right, I'm just going to do a video talking about War Thunder and kind of why I quit. You'll have to excuse the quality of the video. It was saying something about HDR capture quality is going to be lowered or something. Pardon me. I don't even really understand it. Rather than Google it and try and sort it out, I'm just going to leave it. So yeah. So I used to play War Thunder a lot. Now a guy messaged me the other day and he was like, "Why don't you play so much? You know, what made you quit War Thunder?" Because I was like religious to War Thunder. I played it every day, and I was on most days after work. And for me, like learning about World War II, learning about the certain vehicles, what went on at certain battles, and just learning about World War II in general is just really good. Like I learned a hell of a lot about World War II, mainly from this game actually, because the game is meant to be realistic to World War II. It's meant to be it was meant for me. It was like taking a trip back in time and playing World War II vehicles, kind of how they would have played, or how battles would have played out. People on the forums used to disagree and want it to be mixed battles. A lot of people complained about the whole mixed battle thing, but I'm guessing that Guardian just didn't really care too much and wanted to push more mixed battles. Probably because it sells more stuff, maybe. I don't know. They can make more duplicates of things. For me, it started getting stale around the China update. It's like they didn't have anything else to add into the game, so they just stuck China in there and started basically pushing out vehicles like the Hellcat, when really you don't need another Hellcat because we have a Hellcat already. So it got really bad around the France update when they started bringing in France. I mean, they started bringing it in. People started saying like, why are the French fighting USA? Why is France fighting Great Britain, etc.? Because it was literally a case of bringing in Shermans again, which we already had, and they were just bringing them in, and it was literally Sherman versus Sherman at 5-3. That's literally what it was. So as you can see, there's a Sherman here. Sherman. Another Sherman. See, they had Shermans for days. Literally. Now, the annoying part is that they bought in a bunch of Shermans, and they literally go from 3.3 upwards. So when you was playing like 3.3, you would fight in the M24 against the M24. Then you would get to like, I don't know, 4.0, and you would fight Sherman versus Sherman at that tier. Even at 3.3, you was fighting like M10 versus M10. Like, it was becoming more and more of a joke. Like M10, you was fighting M10 versus M10. Then you go to 4.7, you were fighting M18 versus M18 because of China. But back then M18 hadn't come out really. But you were still fighting Sherman versus Sherman. And it was really annoying. Like, really annoying. So, yeah, and then they started bringing out stuff like China, like Japan even got a variant of the Sherman, and it becomes so stupid. Let me just try and find it. Can't actually remember where it is. Yeah, here you go. The 76 preview. So they got a variant of the 76 for some reason. So literally every tier that you played was just fighting your own tanks. And it was becoming more like arcade and less realistic. Then they introduced China. They gave China the Hellcat. And that just absolutely messed it up for everybody. Some of my friends started not coming on because it just got boring fighting the same tanks. Like, it's an M10, so you could fight an M10. You had the M10, you had the M18, So you was fighting your own tanks. Like there, look. It's the same one, but it's just reskinned, basically. So you had that, and then they introduced Italy. I think Italy come just as I was leaving. They gave them the M18. They gave them the M18, I think. There's the Sherman VC. M18, here you go. Yeah, the M18, there you go. Another M18. So literally, World War II tier was becoming less and less realistic and more like your own tanks versus your own tanks. And friends started not coming on anymore because they was getting fed up with it. And I got to the point where I was the only guy coming on, and I thought I'm just getting fed up with this. Like, it's unrealistic and it's just boring to me. Like, the reason I got into this game was the whole World War II realistic side. And you could join SB, like, granted, but I could never get into SB. I never liked it, but I used to like realistic battles when it was realistic. But yeah, I mean, the thing that annoyed me the most, there's two things that annoyed me apart from this. And that was the fact that the maps were an absolute joke. They used to have the largest maps. So, as an M18 player, right, or mostly M18, you would be pretty quick getting to caps. But they used to have the biggest maps. So you spend a good 10 minutes driving somewhere. Now, you could imagine somebody in it, like when I used to play Tiger, for example, right? I used to take forever to get to the battle. I used to take forever. They used to have the stupidest maps, and they actually made it an update where you could ban the maps. But you could only ban one map. Well, no, it's not just banning one map. You could ban 3 maps, I think. But they would always have variants of the map. So if the largest map on the server, if you was getting put in it a lot, you could ban the map. Now, the problem with this is that they had like 3 variants of the map. So they would have one with 1 capture point, they would have one with 3 capture points. So you really couldn't ban the map. You would always end up going in the map. You would end up getting that map some way or another. So when you was in a Tiger and you was on the largest map possible, you was having to drive for about 10 minutes before you even got to the battle. Then you was getting killed by Hellcats because they could pen anything. And then you would go back to the start, and then you would pull a Panther, you would come back. Honestly, it was just a joke. Why didn't they just do, like, they should have just had it where the shells couldn't pen anything, and you had to use different shell types to pen a Tiger, just like you did in World War II. Like, they didn't make it realistic, and then people was crying out that the Hellcat's OP, which I kind of agree it was. But the Hellcat, like, the Hellcat can die to machine gun fire. The Hellcat's really easy to kill. The gun is really easy to kill. Like, you could kill him with machine gun fire. Like, it's not rocket science to kill a Hellcat, but I get it. They can be hard to kill, but really, you know, making it unrealistic now has just done it for me. I mean, 2 things I hated, and that was literally the big maps for, like, low tier. Like, why would you have, like, M24? So you go to 3.3, right? You'd get a map that was just too big, and it would take you ages to get to the battle. The battles weren't contained in a small area; they were spread out across the whole map. So you would kill probably 1 or 2 players, and then you would have to travel across the whole map to find where everybody else was. Absolute piss take. And the other thing I hated as well, and that was night battles. The one thing I never ever ever got into was night battles. As soon as a night battle was there, I'd J out. Everybody J'd out. We had, literally what I would do, if I found a night battle, I would J out, and then I would just pick Germany and go back into the game. Like, it was just such a mess. Like, night battles made no sense, really, in a World War II scenario. I'm sure during World War II, I'm sure they fought at night, but this isn't 100% accurate, because it's RB. So I'm guessing at night time they wouldn't drive a tank around and start shooting at Tigers. I'm sure they would just call it for the night, or they would hide and wait for the Tiger to come. I don't even know what they did in night games. I mean, did they do nighttime raids? Probably. Should they do it in this game? Not really, because you can't see. Like, you literally can't see. You're driving around. You lose Silver Lions because you just die. You die to somebody who's got their resolution turned right up and can see. Like, it's just an absolute piss take. So that's two things I used to hate. And then I used to kind of get on with the game and think, well, they'll sort it out one day. They'll sort it out. Because night games are pretty rare, and big maps, they used to come and go, but they used to make me jay out when you used to get a large map. I used to think, what was the point in that? So yeah, so playing stuff like this now is unrealistic, and I just can't play it anymore, unfortunately. I don't think they'll ever reverse the changes, but yeah, I mean, the community is pretty good as a community. They do answer questions and help you out, but realistically, you know, realistic battles are just a no-go for me now. If I came on, I would probably just, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably play simulator battles, but again, I'm just not interested in simulator battles. I queued earlier for a simulator battle, and I was in the queue for about 15 minutes. I've been playing a lot of realistic battles, playing the Bradley, but the Bradley is actually losing me Silver Lions. And I went onto the forums, and some dude was like, oh, the Bradley should be 9.0 because of ATGMs. Like, honestly, bro, like, you get something good and everybody wants to wreck it. Like, literally, it used to be good having Germans and USA fight it out. It was pretty realistic to the you know, to the day, and it was fun, but obviously not anymore. So that's the reason why I don't play anymore. I have come on and played 6.7, but 6.7 lost me about 400k Silver Lions over the time I was playing it. I didn't realise that every time you die, it's costing me like friggin' 10k. Like this tank costing me 10k for repair. This tank is costing me 5k. Like, I'm losing 15k every time I just die in these two tanks. Like, it's an absolute joke. So yeah, I was just losing Silver Lions, but I had about 5 million at the time, or 4 million. So I think I had 5 million, and I think I went and wasted 1 million on spading, on putting these, crewing these, and I think I bought this for 500k or whatever it was, the Bradley. I can't remember how much it was now, but yeah. But I actually lose Silver Lions in this. I can't actually gain Silver Lions. The only time I make Silver Lions is at 5-3. But like 5-3 yesterday, I played 5-7, and we just steamrolled the enemy because we got put with Panthers and Tigers as M18, and it was just so funny. We were playing 5.3. We were playing against 5.3 USSR, and we just absolutely steamrolled them. No question about it. We just absolutely steamrolled. These tanks didn't even stand a chance. Now, this isn't a bad tank. It's a good tank. It can bounce, but I don't know about fighting Tigers, Panthers, and Hellcats. I mean, that's just a crazy combination right there. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's why I quit. So yeah, there you go. You had it. Answered your question. So yeah, anyway, I'll see you soon. I probably won't be coming back to this. I went on the forums earlier to ask why. I might come back if they revert the changes, but I don't think they'll do that really. I think they're interested in pushing more unrealistic tanks into the game, or maybe pushing the same vehicle into the game because it makes money. But yeah, anyway, I'll leave it there, and I shall see you soon.